Here. We're here and we're here and we're so we're gonna be watching the Super Moms, man. The Super Moms. Ruby Franke and Jody Hildebrandt. And I think the husband, there's gonna be interrogation with him. There's body cam, photos, audio recording, security footage, body cam, all this stuff. And apparently, the duo pleaded guilty to 4 counts of CA, child, child stuff. And we watched the sentencing as well on the YouTube page. And so all this video got dropped a couple of days ago. I haven't watched it yet. I wanted to have time to watch it and not feel like I have to rush, because I had a couple of things going on. So, and this lady, Ruby, asked if she made the news over a phone call, jailhouse call, and blamed the kids for being full of evil in the jailhouse calls. And I remember during the sentencing too, Hildebrandt didn't really seem to take much responsibility. Ruby seemed to have. It was very emotional, I think. Not Jody, though. Give it a second, see if everybody's here. All right. So I guess we'll just get started, see what happens. Tricky Vicky said, I just typed your name without the caps. Without having to change the caps back and forth. Yeah, if you want my attention in the chat, you don't have to type. Apparently, it's not just you, Tricky Vicky. Somebody else was telling me too that they thought that they literally had to put lowercase, uppercase in order to at me. You don't have to at me either. If you just type in Ick and Mel, it highlights for me in the chat. It pops up like that with a highlight if you're trying to get my attention. I guarantee if it's really busy, I might not see it still anyway, but you just have to type out Ick and Mel. And that's it. All right, so let's check it out. So the first part here, this is the arrest of Ruby Franke.
You want to put it on one of our vehicles?
Yeah, you want to. Okay. And then right now I can put a finger in each of these, okay? And I'm just going to double up those so they don't tighten up on you on the way out there.
Is this how the Mormons arrest people? This is like a nice arrest.
Where's your car?
It's out there.
Yeah.
By the command.
It's a Mormon community, by the way.
You don't have anything on you that I should know about, correct? Any weapons, anything that we're going to find. Before you put you in a police vehicle, we need to search your person to make sure you don't have anything on you. Is there anything you have on you? Okay, I'm going to search you before we put you in his car. That's just protocol, so I'm just going to have you step right over here and then just widen your legs, widen your stance. Yep, perfect. Are you wearing a bra? Okay, I'm just going to go like this through and make sure you don't have anything. You said you're not wearing a bra? Okay. Is that just like a tank top under here? Okay. Just gonna lift up your hair.
Apparently, this chick kept a journal too with a lot of evidence.
Okay. Alright, you're just gonna walk with Officer Hines.
You'll go out this way.
And then, hey, Hines.
You want me this way or that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you want to go down the downstairs into the interview room downstairs.
Sounds good.
You going down or I'm going down? You're going down. I'll come get the store for you.
I appreciate it. I was going to ask you to
Beautiful
come turn my
house.
car off, but I'm leaving now. So we're good. Yeah. It's still on. Thank you. Yeah.
I'll come help you.
Okay. Hey, hold on. Well,
I would hate to take this opportunity.
huh?
Oh, hi.
Sorry, I'm looking a little crazy
You want to
today.
ask,
I got something.
just so we can tell them who we're taking down there? Ruby? Okay. Go this way. Might be. Sorry, one. Yeah, Captain.
I'm not going with Jessica. You take her?
She told me to transfer it down, and then she'll meet me
Okay,
here.
yeah. Take me in your car, then I'll
Okay.
go home.
Appreciate it. Ruby, what's your last name? Just so I could tell them I'm transferring. Okay. Control traffic 13. I'll be transferring Ruby to number 12. I'll give you my beginning here in a minute.
For a second, I thought they were going to put in the trunk. Well, that'd be gangster. Get it back. Useless. I guess they muted it here. Tiny, thank you for the 10 months. Says you're the best
I'll
mouth.
come up here. I'll come back and grab it after they get back here. You guys got it? Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, brown. I thought it was pink. All right. Thanks, sir. Bye.
Scorpion Land. Yeah, this is Ruby right now.
Okay, come on up, please.
Ran for help. His escape exposed the shocking abuse at the hands of his mother, Ruby Franke,
I'll wait till I have a lawyer.
and her friend, disgraced psychiatrist Jody Hildebrandt.
If you knew all the pieces, I think you'd have a lot of empathy
Psychiatrist.
for what's going on.
And the details of the boy's abuse proved to be more horrific than we could have ever imagined.
Medical got there, they started cutting the stuff off him, and then you can see like the dark around his ankles, and it you could smell it.
Oh, wow.
The flesh.
By now, you know the story of Ruby Franke, the once famed YouTube mom who turned convicted child abuser. Franke rose to fame documenting the lives of her children on the YouTube channel 8 Passengers that at one point had more than 2 million followers. Critics pointed out Franke's alarming parenting tactics far before her arrest.
And my kids are literally starving. I hesitate to say this because it's going to sound like I'm like a mean barbarian, but I told the kids, I said, I'm not even going to let you eat breakfast until you get your chores done.
But it was August.
Bro, like the lack of self-awareness. There was a thing too where, and you guys probably remember in the chat, there was a story, they might talk about it, where her daughter, apparently one of her kids, they're supposed to pack their own lunch. I'm talking about the kid was like a couple of years old. I don't remember how old. Was it 6 or something? She's responsible for packing her own lunch and like putting her backpack or whatever and taking it to school. And so one day the teacher calls and she's like, oh, your kid is hungry. I'm concerned. She doesn't have food. And the mom was like, well, she's just going to have to learn her lesson. Instead of like a normal parent that would either probably like go up to the school and bring the food or whatever if they could, or have somebody go do it. She did this as like as a lesson type of shit. And you would think that, like, okay, I don't know. Let's say in some world, maybe there's people that do that, I guess. I don't know. Maybe there's people that, oh, you pack your food. Even if you were doing that as the adult, you should go, all right, well, let me just make sure they got their lunch or something, you know? Like, make sure they have it packed or whatever, or some shit.
August 30th, 2023, when things really changed for Franke.
Place your hands on your back for me. Perfect. And then
That's when this harrowing 911 call was made.
This kid has obviously been, I think he's been detained. He's obviously covered in wounds.
We've played the call for you.
And this thing, so I was told that the houses, they do look like that out there. So I'm not familiar with these the housing. This should look like a compound to me. But I guess that's how the houses are out there.
Dozens of times here on Law and Crime Network, but this is the first time we're actually seeing what led up to it.
So I guess this is her son knocking on the neighbors.
This week, Washington County, Utah finally released dozens of documents, photos, audio recordings, and videos, all relating to the Franke case, and we're getting a first-hand look at what happened. We know that on August 30th of last year, the Franke's son, who we are identifying as RF, broke free from Jody Hildebrandt's Ivins, Utah home and ran for help. Here's a video of him approaching a neighbor's home and ringing the bell. You can see RF ring the bell and wait at the front door for someone to answer.
Wow. 12 years old.
As he stands there, RF is emaciated with extremely small legs. You can see the duct tape around his ankles. He's wearing a ragged...
Oh, that's duct tape. Oh, man, I thought that was his socks. I'm just looking at it, and I thought it was like gray socks and like some type of upper, like the part was just white. I didn't realize that's duct tape.
long sleeve shirt that has blood on the arm and socks without shoes. When RF knocks on the door, it's soft, almost as if he's too weak to make a loud bang. After about 2 minutes waiting at this home, RF leaves and heads to another neighbor's home. The next neighbor RF visits makes the infamous 911 call, and the entire thing is caught on Ring camera video. Here, you can see the boy slowly approach the door before pressing the intercom. At first, it seems like no one will answer the door as there's an automated response.
Answer the door right now, but if you'd like to leave a message, you can do it now.
So RF starts to walk off before we hear what sounds like a door opening.
Yes.
RF turns around and faces the neighbor, asking for what he calls some favors.
Hi, I was just wondering if you could do 2 favors.
Well,
Can't believe how skinny his legs are.
what are they?
Taking me to the nearest police station.
The man asks the boy what's going on, and he replies, it's personal business.
Well, actually, just one's fine.
What's going on, son? Have a seat there.
It's personal business.
The neighbor asks RF how he got over there before the video cuts out.
What's your name? How'd you get here?
We now know RF broke free from duct tape shackles after months of abuse. He and his younger sister were found in such poor condition that they needed to be hospitalized after their rescue. Next, we see video of the neighbor making the infamous 911 call that up until now we only had heard audio for. As you can see, RF is within earshot of the call.
222-1512. I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. And he said he just came from a neighbor's house and he's emaciated, he's got tape around his legs, he's hungry and he's thirsty.
Need someone immediately.
Another video shows the man still on the line with 911.
But he has duct tape around
Big
each ankle.
injuries, there's sores around them.
Yeah, there's sores around him. I think there's a good chance he's been...
He also has
and he has it around his
wrist
ankle.
as well.
I mean, it's...
And what was the during the sentencing, right? What was the reasoning? What they blame? Their belief, their upbringing. Were they in some type of? Was it some type of belief, religion? Was Jody claiming that Hildebrandt brainwashed her, or I forgot what I'll see if I can find that, because they had some type of BS reasoning or something, brainwashing or claims or whatever. In other phone calls which took place between August 2023 and December 2023, Franke defends her abuse as well as the choices made by her former business partner Jody Hildebrandt, comparing them to Joseph Smith, the founder of the Mormon Church.
Wrist as well. Okay, this boy has been...
Needs immediate attention.
The 911 recording is famous for the neighbor tearing up during the call as he explains the boy's condition. We now know that as one neighbor was saying all this, the other was comforting RF.
Oh, you were such a good kid.
This kid is obviously been... I think he's been detained. He's obviously covered in wounds.
In another ring video from the same house, we see RF eating for the first time as emergency responders arrive.
He's hungry and he's been running there. He sat up with his hair in his stocking feet. So he escaped.
We need the police here now.
They're on the line.
Wow. Yo, she's pacing like just... Yeah, that's crazy. Imagine that a kid shows up to your house like that.
I hear a car, but they're not coming on the driveway.
The neighbors wave for the ambulance to come closer as they tell RF he's going to be checked out.
No, they're just not getting out of the truck. Okay. Okay, thank you. Bye.
I gave
These folks are going to examine you.
Additional video of RF being treated has been partially redacted, but you can hear a first responder remind the boy he's not in trouble.
Even just looking at his neck.
You get the ropes on you. Who did them?
Wow. You see how, like, that is crazy to see how, like, he's so, I guess, emaciated, like they say, that it's just like it's going inward. Like, it's just so.
Supposed to help you what?
An officer later describes RF's wounds, saying he could smell the flesh.
First observed the kid. He was sitting on the chair, had the duct tape and plastic around.
All right, can we go back to chases? Bro, this is so like, ugh. And somebody in the chat said that Jody's like a millionaire. I wonder if that's true. I mean, I guess they're living well, doing their own business. This chick, Jody Hildebrandt, which is the other lady, is a mental health coach, amongst other things. And I can't believe, because when I heard that these ladies were, these kids locked up in the safe in the basement, and they're doing YouTube podcasts while the kids are locked up, talking about parenting and health coach and mental health and shit.
His ankles. And then he had a long sleeve shirt on. And then we pulled his sleeves up, and he had duct tape and clear plastic underneath the sleeves on both wrists.
Natalie says the photos that released are terrible. You can see the backbones. Oh man, I haven't seen them. I guess Carly, that's what Carly was talking about. I haven't seen those photos. I'm glad I haven't. Maybe. Yeah.
And then medical got there. They started cutting.
No way. Amy said the church was recommending people to Jody.
Cutting the stuff off him, and then you can see like the dark around his ankles, and it you could smell it with the flesh. underneath the tape. As soon as they took it off, you can, even outside, you can smell. You can smell the flesh. And then the transport, or put him in the ambulance. I went in there. They started cutting more off of it. You can see the wounds on the back of his ankles, around the front of his ankles, and then on his wrists as well. And the wounds around his ankles were dark and like, I don't know, like wet looking, I guess, from the moisture underneath it. Yeah, he said he was tied on the ground with a rope. That's where the wounds came from. Yeah, with ropes on all 4 of his extremities.
Wow,
And
all 4
that's where the
extremities.
wounds came from. And
Arms,
then,
legs.
They put they put cayenne pepper mixed with honey, he said, on the wounds, and then covered that with the plastic saran wrap and then the duct tape.
That is like a particular just evil. They shouldn't be let out. Well, I forgot how much time they got. I gotta check it out.
Over the wounds,
bro.
Yeah.
Why honey? So it sticks or
and
something?
then that's what we cut off, was that. Yeah, they dressed the wounds. Some of the wounds. I'll explain everything after. Have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant, sir?
Control 12X11. Can you hold the air? We're searching the house.
I can tell you what's in the house.
Okay. Just have a seat right there for me.
Do you have a search warrant?
We'll explain it after this.
You can't just come into my house without a search warrant.
We'll explain everything after this, ma'am. Okay. Well, that's one of the reasons why we're here. So we'll explain after.
Oh, so it's not the whole thing. No, this is a compilation of all the evidence. So the other original ones are longer. Should we watch the longer ones? Let's see. Or should we just watch the highlights? Let me find my DMs here. Gotta scroll up. Wow, I was scrolling. Okay. Let's see. So far, we've watched. Right now, we're with the part where she gets her house searched. Oh yeah. So, well, there's some parts we missed out, I guess. There's that. Question is, the arrest part. Let me see here. We saw the arrest part. Let me check that out real quick. It'll be Franke arrest. We'll skip past the parts we saw already.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, I didn't know.
Is there a restroom right here? Or?
I don't know where it's at.
Wherever you need to use restroom.
We can do a mix of
there is
both.
one in there. Thank you, sir. I mean, LT.
No, the journal's towards the end. There's our house. We kind of get to see a little bit more, I guess, with the longer version. We'll, get to see the layout and stuff. She is. Ruby Frank appears angry, annoyed while getting arrested.
Oh no, that's just really loud. What's that?
It's an alarm. Do you want to turn it off?
Yeah, where's it at?
It's my purse.
I didn't know those are connected to it. I'll put it back up there. Thank you. Is there a lock on? Or is that the lock right there? Turn down actually. You good? Yeah. Okay. What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said something. He was yelling something to him. I apologize.
How are you? Alright, well, it feels good in here. So,
Downstairs in the interview room. So I could have gone that way, but appreciate you opening the door. We'll take these stairs right here. Alright. And we'll look down this hall. This next one right here. Right here. And we'll go ahead and I can remove those cuffs right here. Go to down and remove them. This way, yeah. Light on. Okay, she'll be here shortly, okay?
Oh, that's interesting. Oh. Okay, I thought that's just a door holder. I thought they put a handcuff at the bottom of the door to keep it locked or something.
What's that?
you can tell I'm in my office.
We're in the office.
If he's,
Oh, okay.
because he's gonna do interviews with me.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Here, you want your cuff back? She is definitely not a talker.
She's not. Neither is anyone.
Even if I ask her a name or
Okay.
just like, not even ask them about things, she looks at me and goes,
That's how the other one is.
what's that?
That's how the other one is.
Really?
Yeah, I'm very curious. I'm gonna have you come sit on this side for me. Thank you. Was this your water? I'm gonna.
It's yours if you want it. We'll say that. How's that?
We also have snacks if you need anything to eat. So I know I introduced myself to you earlier, but my name is Detective Bates, and this is Sergeant Tobler. We're just here to talk to you about kind of a few things involving your kids. So first, do you live down here, or? Or do you live?
Wow, bro, he wasn't lying when this lady really doesn't say nothing. And being arrested, she's just kind of nodding.
Up north.
Bro, weird as
Do
hell.
you want to talk to me about where you live, or how many kids you have? So we just spoke with your husband, and he said you guys have 6 kids. Are those all together? Are those all your kids? I can wait all day, so it's up to you if you want to talk to us about what's going on.
That is so weird, man. I don't know if she thinks she's
Would
gonna
you feel more comfortable talking to one of us?
escape responsibility by just sitting there.
Step out if you want.
Or if you feel more comfortable talking to him, I can step out.
I'll wait till I have a lawyer.
Oh,
So you don't want to talk to us at all?
So weird.
Do you want to answer that? Or you don't want to talk to us about anything?
So, yeah, this is just your chance to tell us. We're just trying to get your side of the story. So it's your chance to do that. But it's up to you. We're just here to talk. And, I mean, I'm not asking any criminal questions. If you don't want to talk to us, just let us know and we'll be done.
I've already told you.
That you want a lawyer? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Easy enough.
Thank you.
Is there anything else I can get you for you in the meantime? I got the water. Do you need a bathroom break or anything like that? No? Okay. Okay, good.
It's so weird. I don't know even how to like describe that. Her behavior. Oh, let's see. The other thing too, before we get to the next part of the. That's the daughter. Cops search for Ruby. Okay, here we go.
Hi, how is you?
Let's watch this too. Let's see. Okay, there's parts in here that's kind of all right. This is the boy going to the
Wondering
neighbor.
if you could do 2 favors.
Well, what are they?
Taking me to the nearest police station.
For the first time, we're hearing the shocking.
Knew all the pieces.
The dark around his ankles, and it you could smell it, the flesh.
By now, you know the story of Ruby
Actually saw that already. Okay.
actually seeing what.
Well, what are they?
Taking me to the nearest police station.
The man asked the boy what's going on, and he.
Okay, we saw that already too. All right, so now they're at Jody Hildebrandt's home. Her home gets raided. I just want to see if there's a longer version of that. Let's see. Oh, there is, I think. Oh, there's definitely a longer version. All right, so we're going to watch the longer version of this. We'll listen to the narration first, and then we'll watch the longer version. She's on the phone with her lawyer. All right, so we saw that whole part, the interaction there. I just want to see.
I have Airbnb guests over there. Probably scared them to death.
Okay.
Airbnb guest. Who, them kids in the basement? Living the life. Seems like she's well off.
And they're on this side of the house then?
They're right over there. She's over here.
Can you get through the house that way?
Yes, they just have to go right there.
There's no other kids besides her?
No.
What's her name?
You hear them in the background, like searching the whole place.
Should be off to, where are you at? Should be off to the left, right in there. Just around the corner, down the hall.
Second door to the right.
Yeah, maybe it is just standing around. See?
Oh, hey. Is that you? Hi. There's a 10-year-old down that hallway in that bathroom.
Place is huge.
Where you at? I'm right here. So you're going to be down that hall to the right.
Looks like there's two. There's two.
There's two.
Look like two on that.
There's only one.
Well, who's this at the door then?
Ooh.
Oh, that's never mind. Sorry, that was one of the officers. I thought it was two.
One contact.
Bro, Carly, yeah. They make Tim Faraday look like a saint. Oh, shoot.
Jody?
That's never mind. Sorry, that was one of the officers. Just one.
Just one. Sorry.
Just one. Okay.
I'm holding down here. Contact one. I'm holding down here.
Police department, call out! Open fade right, left. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, we're clear.
Our Airbnb people were here.
They're at the Cat Scum out there.
Oh, okay.
The door costs $40K? The front door or the safe door?
What's that?
There's only, they're saying there's another person, there's not.
Okay.
I'll bring him in. Hold on.
Okay, we cleared to open the air?
Yeah.
Control 12X11, you're clear to open the air.
Room to somebody? Like an Airbnb? Where's that at? Is it the basement?
No.
There's just a room on the outside there? Can you access that room from inside here, inside the house?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can? Okay.
Yeah, I have guests there. I assume they're there.
You know where they're from?
I think they said Salt Lake.
Salt Lake? Okay.
Okay, so this is basically the cops searching the whole place. I'm standing here, so I'll skip forward to this, and then we'll go back to the narration. I guess that's why they cut this out. You can't imagine the adrenaline for the cops, probably. Like, you're finding out that there's an emaciated child. I believe that came from this location. And you're like, damn, there could be more kids here.
Adam, I know you have a flight to catch, so they're just.
Well, so they're in your home because you lied to them about.
Yeah, I've got a police officer standing right here.
Okay.
Boy, you better hush up. You better hush up. I guess he didn't know he was on speakerphone. Oh, God. This cop was probably like, his ears are probably perking up. Like, what?
So they're.
Adam, I know you.
Or winded it. Let's see.
Adam, I know you have a flight to catch, so they're just...
Well, so they're in your home because you lied to them about...
Yeah, I've got a police officer standing right here.
Okay.
So, I don't know if you missed your flight, so...
She's concerned about this guy missing his flight, the attorney. Bro, the cops are up in your house.
Well, I'm not going to miss my flight. I'm okay for a minute.
Okay.
Have they found her yet?
Yeah, they think there's somebody else in the house. There's not.
A lawyer on speed dial, too.
Are there 3 children that are supposed to be in this house?
There's one that's here.
One that's here? There's not 3 children that are supposed to be here in this
No.
home?
Cops gotta have a bunch of thoughts in his head. Lawyer over here telling, that she lied. Forward a little bit.
6 of them. One officer standing right here with me.
So are they still looking for others?
Yeah. I have one officer standing right here with me. There's about 6 of them. I don't know where it is. I know they found her. I don't know if they left her there. I don't know.
This guy probably doesn't know he's on speakerphone. Oh, that's tricky. I heard about that. Hot sauce on the kids. You texting Rudy?
No, it's on speaker. Yeah. Yeah. There's, no, it's on speaker. Hold on.
Oh, yes. I can't with this. This lady's just.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, she lied to the attorney about how bad the injuries were.
Thank you.
Right, Kira later put cayenne in those eyes. And Jody's eyes.
No, do you want to do outside?
You guys gonna grab cars?
Yeah.
Mine's still running.
We just walked in the house. There was a machine gun in her hands.
Oh, Jody, I'm so sorry.
I think these people have no empathy for anybody else, not even their own kids, because the emotion she's having here is because her ass is caught and they're searching the house and she knows what's coming. But when those kids were being tortured in the basement, it didn't seem like they had any kind of emotion. Even at her sentencing, Jody didn't really have much emotion. Ever thought about those terrorists that were in Russia that were killing all those people? They looked like they were just, it was whatever, so casual to them. And then when the ass got caught, and I saw one guy getting beat up. They caught some guy in the forest. They were beating him up. He was screaming, crying, ah! Like screaming. And I'm like, this guy felt nothing for all the people that he gunned down. I saw some horrific stuff. Even some people that, like, it looked like they were dead. And so the terrorists, like, walk up and, like, slit their throat or something to assure that they're dead. Horrible, horrible stuff. And then when they're caught, it's like they're crying and shit, screaming. And so I wonder if there's just people out there that are void of any kind of empathy or feeling anything for anybody else but themselves. That's the only time they have any kind of emotion.
I think he might be outside with the Airbnb people.
Oh, are they still here? Did they go?
I don't know. Okay. He had him somewhere on the side.
All right.
Thank you, Biggie Bing. Oh, Mustard Mama. I'll scroll up the computer. Yeah, Mustard Mama, thank you so much. 20 memberships gifted. Holy moly. Thank you. Alright, let me skip a little bit. This is August 30th, 2023.
He's standing. I don't know who he is, but yes.
It's my lieutenant.
He's lieutenant.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You have a room downstairs that has a safe wheel on the front. How do we get access to that to ensure that there's no one else in this home?
Adam.
They do need to search that there's nobody else.
Bro, even your own attorney is like, listen, you got some weird shit going on. We need to check there's not somebody in there.
You can give them access to make sure there's nobody in there.
And then you don't have to tell me the code. If you just want to open it, we're going to go in and make sure that nobody's else there, and then we'll sit down and have a conversation after that as far as why we're here. That makes sense?
Yes, it makes sense. And
You want to open it then?
I don't know if I have the code.
Does he have the code and he can tell you the code and that's just between you two?
No. That thing.
A room where?
It's a room with a toilet, with a sink.
Toilet and a sink, and you don't know the code?
I haven't used it.
Okay.
That's BS.
Alright. Where we're at. That's right. Let's get info from.
You got to call the safe company? Is that who you have to
I
call?
assume that's where I have to call.
Okay.
This hasn't been at the top of my priority list.
Yeah.
So we still don't know how much time these ladies are getting, right? Because I know at Ruby, the max amount of time was capped at 30 years. She was given a sentence of 1 to 15 years for each count, but there's a max of 30 years. And the judge didn't decide.
Yeah, just a minute.
There's some. Oh, he wants to be taken off speaker. The judge didn't decide. There's some other committee, I guess, that decides the time. The parole board. Thank you, Carly. Yeah.
Check what? I don't know what that means. I just think if I call I don't know that for sure, but I think if I call the whatever it's called Liberty Safe. But I don't know if they're gonna know because I'm the one that said it. But that was 6 years ago. Ruby's on hold now.
The neighbor. Okay, we'll check. 2 hours. Find 2 of Franke's daughters. They're her arrest.
No. Okay, you want to put it on speaker? Okay, hold on. Okay, you're on speaker.
Well, officer, so the other individual, I don't know if that was you, mentioned that you would explain the purposes behind what you thought were the exigent circumstances. Can you tell us those now?
I can't. You'd have to talk to my sergeant or lieutenant about that.
Could you get them, please?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Let's see. LT? She's on the phone with her attorney.
Okay.
He's asking what the reasons why we're here. Because when I pulled her out, I told her, I was like, we're just here, exigent circumstances required us to be here. So he was like, what are those? I was like, you'd have to talk to somebody
No, I'll
else.
talk to his face, but I'm not gonna talk to him on the phone.
Do what?
Yeah, no, I can talk to him on the phone.
Okay.
Is that your attorney? Yes. Okay. Hello, sir.
Hey.
Hey, it's Lieutenant Studley. Hey, so we're not gonna have any conversation over the phone. We'll probably do that in person. Is there a time that we can sit down and meet?
Well, there is. I'm getting on a plane, so it would need to be Friday.
Okay.
Could we do Friday?
Absolutely. What time Friday works for you?
Well, could we do in the afternoon?
You tell me what time I will be available.
Jody, would 4 o'clock on Friday work?
Yeah.
You want Jody there, I presume?
Yes.
Okay. And you are supposed to announce yourself and explain the purpose. Could you at least explain that to Jody while I'm on the phone?
Not yet, but I can do that with you on the phone. But again, there won't be any dialogue. We received a report of an emaciated juvenile that had duct tape around his extremities that was asking for food and water. And based on that information, there are other people in the home, so we're ensuring that there is nobody else in the same condition. So under that X and sheet C, we've entered the home.
Thank you, I appreciate that,
Yeah.
Lieutenant. We will plan on Friday at 4.
Okay.
And where were we?
Our police department is 55 North Main Street in Ivans.
Did you hear that, Adam?
I did, yeah. And Jody, officer, thank you. I don't know if you're still on the phone.
Yeah, no, we're here.
Okay. Jody, we'll just plan on 4 o'clock on Friday. And Ruby's on her way down for the children, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, before I hang up, officer, can I talk to Jody just briefly?
Absolutely. I will walk away and you are on your own.
I think they're gonna take her. I think they're gonna take her. Got it.
I'll go stand at that door. I'll stay at the door, okay? Okay.
Amy, thank you for the 20 and for the super chat. Says to clarify for the chat, girl is found in unlocked closet. Locked safe room has ropes and shackles. Oh my god. All right, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Lord almighty. Yeah, we're gonna check out, I think, all the videos we're gonna check out. We're looking at the short. They muted it, by the way. We're looking at the short and the long format. The long format, I'm just, okay, the construction of the house. Huge house. I mean, wow.
That's what I'm doing. All I know is that someone needs to go draft a search warrant. So that's probably. I just wanted Tope to do that based on his info. You got her.
He's straight in there. A little bit. I'm at the front door.
Need anything?
Captain, relief captain. Yes, relief captain. He's Hey, are you still have your attorney on the phone? Okay. I just want to advise you of our intentions. It seems like there's a room we can't get into, and we're getting some conflicting information. We're gonna go draft a search warrant, and we'll be right back, okay?
Yeah.
What does that mean, a search warrant?
What's that?
What does he mean, a search warrant?
I'm just gonna get a warrant from the judge.
You're already here, though. I don't understand what that means.
They'll explain it to you when they give it to you. Since we've been here.
Information from...
I don't know. I don't know who they talked to since we've been here.
Freaked out. She worrying.
Like I said, well, the reason Lieutenant Studley said the reason why we're here is to make sure everybody was okay. That everybody was, the condition we found. The search warrant, I imagine, is going to be do a more in-depth search of the house. Right now, it's just safety and security of the people.
Got it.
Making sure they're okay.
No, I see your position.
Yeah.
That's why I'm crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see why you think this is an issue.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah. That bug, though. I noticed you got a giant bug, though, back there.
Yeah, it's on my to-do list. Just read that off the front. The guy came and did a
Spray.
spray, and like 3 days later, I had bugs everywhere.
All dead. It'll work.
Yeah. That one came a couple days later.
I seen that and made sure that it was
Yeah.
dead, because that looked a little intimidating.
Yeah.
You could probably sit on the couch so you're not out here in the sun.
Okay.
If you guys want to go sit
Can I go
down.
to the bathroom?
Absolutely. You just have to make sure no one's in the bathroom and let her go in.
Okay.
I'm good, right?
Knock her ass. Handcuff one of her hands or something.
Okay.
Oh, shoot. All right. So that was the longer version of what we were just watching. Now, cops find Ruby's daughter.
You don't want to talk to me? Yeah, that's okay. Can you come with me, though?
Sergeant Tobler would later tell ABC News they initially believed Frankie's daughter was a little boy due to the young girl having a buzz cut at the time. Tobler then tells EF they apprehended Jody Hildebrandt, but the little girl still sits silent, seemingly too afraid to speak.
We got Jody out here. You know Jody? She's outside with us. You take your time, bud. I'm in no hurry. I'm a police officer. Did you know that? I don't mean to hurt you at all. You doing okay? Are you scared? Yeah? You're okay. Do you need help? You want to come with me? No? I'm not going to hurt you. Promise. See this right here? It's a badge. It tells me I don't hurt people. I'm just here to make sure you're okay.
Pretty wild.
You're in no way in any trouble. I'm not here to hurt you. I just want to make sure you're okay. And I get if you're scared. I would be too.
828 Caroline, thank you so much for the memberships. Gifting 10 memberships.
You want to come with me?
Still visibly afraid, the officer then offers reassurance to the young child by sitting down on the floor with her.
Sit down. It's okay if I just sit here with you. We don't have to say anything. If you don't want to. Okay? I'll just sit here with you.
Jesus Christ. So I saw the pictures because somebody sent me the pictures. Obviously, I cannot show this, I guess, on YouTube. Definitely not, but it is so freaking bad. these kids. The way their skin is like pretty much coming off on the boy. Really, really bad. The duct tape. And the duct tape one is probably okay. Probably for Discord is okay. And his back too. His back completely emaciated. I mean, these kids were being starved and tortured. Literally in the extremities where they had their stuff wrapped around them, it's like their skin was kind of starting to come off, lacerations. So really, really bad.
A little more than an hour later, EF is still afraid to leave the closet. Sergeant Tobler asks the young girl if she's hungry and would like some food.
I'll put this in, okay? You want to hungry? You can eat. There we go. Thanks, yeah.
EF seems nervous to eat as she stares at the small personalized pizza for several minutes before slowly inching the food toward her so she can take a bite.
A News Nation showed all of it? Okay. I'll drop it on Discord. I don't want to really put that on here. It's cruel, man. I can't even imagine.
Frankie's daughter reportedly eats the entire personal pizza and half of the large one. More than an hour goes by and EF is still afraid to leave the closet as officials take turns to try to get her up, but she's still not budging. One EMT tries to get her to talk, but she said she's nervous.
You don't want to talk? Okay. There's nothing at all you want to talk about at all? It's okay to talk to me. Are you scared? What?
It's unclear what was said after EF tells the EMT she's nervous. However, 10 minutes later, officials reassure EF she won't be harmed.
So can we carry you from there? It's the right choice. I promise. Pinky promise.
Remember how I said we need to screen for colon cancer?
And we got him some help too. And that's what we want to do for you. If we want to get you some help too. We are safe. We will not hurt you, and we won't do anything to hurt you.
It's unclear what was said next, but after nearly 4 hours, EF stands up with the emergency responders and slowly walks out of the closet. EF is later taken to a hospital. Hildebrandt and Frankie were ultimately arrested.
Was this your order?
It's yours if you want it. We'll say that. How's that?
We also have snacks if you need anything to eat. So I know I introduced myself to you earlier, but my name is Detective Bates, and this is Sergeant Tobler.
So we just saw this already too. This lady does a weird staring set, basically when he says she wants to see her attorneys, but it's super weird. So here's Jody now. We haven't seen this yet.
Snacks. Can I get you any water?
And to think this is somebody that had like 1 million something subscribers plus on YouTube.
So if you would be as far forward as possible, don't worry about it.
Same car.
But you know, I am going to review the Miranda rights before.
So this is the husband, and I'm very curious to see what this is like, what he's going to say.
We start. We're just going to kind of ask you a few questions about your involvement. Okay. So first, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be held against you in the court of law. Okay. You have the right to an attorney or to have him or her present while questioning. If you cannot afford to hire one, one will be hired to represent you. If you decide to answer questions, you can stop at any time. Okay? Do you understand your rights?
I do.
Okay. Do you wish to speak to me now?
Well, I want to pick up my kids.
How about this? We're going to ask you some questions, and if you don't want to answer them, you just say, hey man, I'm not going to answer that.
Sure.
And
Just say, hey, I'm not going to talk, that's not beneficial to you, and then we're done. There's no way and we're nowhere. And
Sure.
you understand that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All in the name of Joseph Smith. Yep. Mormon leader.
Okay, so just for starters, what was your full name?
Kevin William Franke.
How to spell that?
KEVINWILLIAMFRANKE.
And what's your date of birth? What's a good address for you?
I'm not comfortable giving my address right now.
Okay. But you do live in Springville?
I do.
How long have you lived in Springville for?
I moved there in 2007 with my family, so
And how many?
17 years.
17. And how many kids do you have, Kevin?
I have 6 kids.
And what are their names?
Yeah, I'm wondering what's the deal with this guy. Did he know? I thought like the story was she supposedly had kept him away or something from the kids. I don't know what this guy's deal is. And as far as the address, he didn't feel comfortable. Can't they just find it out anyway? The cops? I don't know, it's like a secret.
Living with you, or?
No, I haven't seen them for over a year.
Any of them?
No, none of them.
For a year?
Over a year.
Okay.
I've been in a separation.
From who?
From my wife and family.
What's your wife's name?
Ruby.
Ruby. When's the last time you saw Ruby?
The last time I saw her was the 18th of this month. We met she requested me to sign over vehicles, or the titles to the vehicles, the vehicle that she drives, that were all in my name.
When's the last time you physically saw Russell or Eve?
The day that I moved out, July 24th, 2022.
24th of 2022?
Or July 25th, July 25th.
So it's my understanding that at least home here in Kayenta and Ivans, have you been to that home?
No.
You've not been to that home?
No, I don't know. I don't know what's anything that's been going on.
Like, this is good, man. Like, I would love to be able to help you out with this, and like, I'm seeing a live video because I'm unaware of your involvement in what's really going on. So for you to say that you're unaware of the status of your kids kind of makes, I know that sounds kind of crummy to you, but it sounds kind of good to me. Like, who lives in that home with your, is it ex-wife? Is it currently a separated wife? Like, who lives in that home with your children?
To be honest, I don't know. I know that she's there with 4 of the children, and our 2 older children have moved out.
They keep muting it.
They're not at your home in Springville? And I'm not trying to trip you up. I can see you're hesitant to talk to me. I understand that.
Well, where I live, no, I haven't seen them for over a year.
That is wild to me. Over a year? Wow. I mean, how does that happen? Did he not have rights or something? Or she just kept him? He couldn't, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the whole story, so I'm trying to I'll be a little reserve myself a bit, you know. But I couldn't imagine. I could imagine a couple of days. I could imagine a week, a year. What the hell?
That's tough. I can only imagine how that feels, man. I got kids, and not seeing them for that long, that would tear a little piece of my heart out.
Of age to drive. Does
It seems like he's
she drive?
I don't know.
Okay.
Like I said, I know nothing is going on in their lives or anything going on.
How did you find out that you needed to come here to 55 North Main Street?
I received a message that I needed to come pick up my kids from the police department in Highlands.
And who was that message from?
Well, I prefer not to say right now.
It would just help us a lot.
I'm trying to figure out who reached out to you because it makes sense that that would happen. I'm just not aware of anyone who did that from our department.
Right. And I'm not comfortable saying right now who reached out to me.
Okay.
Sure, yeah. Who reached out? Was it Ruby? Was it Jody?
Okay.
So you haven't seen any
Mohawk Mom says the oldest daughter called CPS on the parents. Wow.
kids in over a year, you said?
That's correct.
And then, what was the last time you saw her? How old is she now?
15.
She's 16. Okay. And then when all the kids left, Ruby took all of them?
Yeah, she stayed in the house and I moved out.
Okay. And did you ever try to reach out to the kids, drop by the home, or was there?
I honored the no separation boundary that we agreed to.
So, what was your separation?
Contact boundaries.
Why would you agree to that? That's just wild to me.
Excuse me.
Did you have a no contact order in place?
Order? No, this was between my wife and I.
So,
bro, I could never in hell would have to freeze over for me to agree to some BS like that. That's wild.
So, what did Ruby ask of you when you separated?
What did she ask of me?
Did she ask you not to contact the kids?
Ruby invited me to leave the home while I thought about the choices that I've made in my life and the way that I've treated her.
Okay.
So he's done some stuff, I guess. And I saw some people saying that he had some type of addiction to trying to think of the right safe word, I guess. Online adult videos, I'll say, I guess. That's what they said. But at the same time, somebody else said that Jody said everybody's has that issue or whatever. So I don't know what he did or whatever, but I get it. And that's the crazy thing, right, Heidi? In the chat, Heidi said, and I thought about that, invited me to leave. Imagine that. Hi, yeah, I'm inviting you to get out of your own house. I'm inviting you to leave and leave your kids too.
And so I left.
And how long had you and Ruby been married before?
We were married in 2000.
So about 22 years?
When we separated, we were going on 22 years. Yes.
Okay. And during your marriage, how was disciplining your kids? How would you discipline your kids?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay, that's fine.
Have you been since separated or since they...
That's an odd one. You're not going to answer that?
lived here in the city of Ivans? Have you communicated with your wife regarding like discipline with your kids or their care or their physical well-being?
No.
So is she doing this on her own and just telling you how your kids are?
She's not telling me anything about the kids.
Who's this female Jody that your wife lives with? Do you know a female named Jody?
She is a therapist and a life coach, I know. And she's...
Do you respect her?
Do I respect her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think she's a very honest, truthful person, yes.
Okay. You place value on Jody?
I don't know what that means.
Like, do you value what she says and how she Is your wife a client of hers? Is your wife a partner of hers? Is your wife a roommate with her? Your kids are living in her house is what I'm trying to say.
I'm not aware of that, but every week a podcast goes up and I listen to it.
What's the name of it?
Connections with an X.
Like CON...
CONNEXIONS. Yeah.
And now, do you support them in that role in doing that and having...
Do I support them in the business?
Yeah, like do you support them and think that what they're doing is a good thing, or...
Yeah, I support their business efforts. I think it's a good thing.
Are you involved with their business efforts, or...?
No.
Okay. So just Ruby and Jody? No
In
Kevin?
the business?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And were you involved in the 8 passengers account with your family?
Yes. I was in the videos, and if that's what you mean.
I briefly learned about this 2 hours ago.
So, did Ruby more so do the videos for the family?
Mm-hmm.
And how long did you guys do that for?
She started the channel in 2015, and as far as I'm aware, from the time I left, the last video she uploaded was towards the end of 2021.
Okay.
And I'm not aware of anything she's done since our separation. I don't visit 8 passengers anymore.
Chapter of your life that's gone.
It's a past chapter, yeah.
So how do you and Ruby communicate? Just through text, phone call?
Through text, and if there's anything considered an emergency, we agreed that we would communicate through a phone call.
Okay. And do you know?
Got him like that, huh? Damn. So, what an agreement that this guy agreed to. You can only call, you can only talk on the phone for emergencies. Beyond that, you just text and you stay quiet, shut up. You don't get to talk to your kids, you don't get to see your kids. Just get out of the house. And that's it. If I need you, I'll call you. And I got control of the kids, I control everything else. Like, get the hell out of my house. And you just accept that shit. That's just wild to me, so wild. But maybe there's more to it. I don't know. Maybe there's more to it. Sit on the side and be quiet and get out of here.
Know her phone number off the top of your head?
The top of my head? No.
Okay. No worries. So, how often would you guys communicate while she was down here?
Well, I don't know how often or long she was down here. We've communicated maybe 4 times in 2023 since January.
So are you aware of how she disciplines the kids, or how she handles the kids with behavioral issues or anything like that?
No.
So you're unaware of how she does that?
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware of the physical condition of your children?
No. No. I've chosen to trust my wife with the children.
Wow. That's crazy. That is, I don't know. Maybe there's people that do that, I guess. It's not even about trusting. I just can't imagine, like, you're not going to call your kids just to say hi or, like, have a conversation or what? I'm just beyond blown away by this.
That was part of the agreement of our separation.
Is that you allow her to physically provide for the needs of the child? You're just removed from that, or do you pay support? I know this is personal questions, but...
No, yes, my job is to financially provide for them.
I was trying to figure out, like, how much of a role do you play in the caretaking of, specifically, of those 2 kids?
I pay the bills.
Okay.
So with my job, I provide the money, goes into a shared bank account, and that's my only involvement.
Okay.
Damn, bro. I'm just wow.
like, there's a whole bunch of things I want to talk to you about, but I still can't get over the fact that someone notified you to come here to pick up your kids. My guess is, was that Jody?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay.
All I'll say is,
well,
you
said you trusted her. You said that you think that she's not. I asked you if you placed value on her, but you obviously.
She is an honest. I know her to be an honest and a trustworthy individual, and so yeah, I trust her. And I received a communication that.
They're saying that people believe he's brainwashed. That's why he's did all this.
And so I left immediately from my job and drove down here. That's all I know. I've come to pick up my kids and to take them home with me.
Is there custodial paperwork that says that you're like a... There's no custodial paperwork denying you of rights, correct?
There's no custodial paperwork at all.
Period. So the kids are yours?
They are mine.
Okay.
Yes. This wasn't just a verbal agreement between my wife and I when we separated last year.
Well, what questions do you have?
Oh, I want to know what's going on and why I was asked to come down and pick up my 2 kids.
Well,
and a lot of that kind of hinges on who asks you, because if we had been the one, like, I'm not going to say you fit, but I'm confident a cop didn't call you because we wouldn't have wanted you down here at this point in our investigation. So, having said that, I think it's time we be honest with you, right?
Sure. No, and I didn't lie. Someone contacted me, but I don't want to say without
from your office, but okay.
Well, I don't recall saying someone from my office.
Our office?
No.
Someone, yeah, so we don't know who called you. So if we knew who called you, then we could help you.
It would make more sense.
But...
Well, I don't know the legal ramifications of implicating individuals who contacted me. And so without a lawyer here, I don't want to answer that question.
That's okay, but you want to know specifics of the case, which we can't share right now because it's under investigation. So
I see.
Yeah, so we would like to ask questions about where you found out, but we'll respect that if you don't want to share that information. But I am curious, when you guys had the previous 8 Passengers YouTube channel, you guys got a lot of heat for neglect and child abuse. A lot of people commented.
So now they're bringing up the heat. They're turning on the heat a little bit.
Those things on there. Why were they commenting those things?
That's a good question. We had a son who was acting out in very selfish behavior.
Just Chad, or
yes, this was Chad, and none of this is strange or odd. You could get on YouTube and find out all sorts of stuff on this.
It's like a double-edged sword.
The question is, what do you believe, right? There was even an article written in Newsweek magazine in 2020 on it, was it Newsweek? No, Business Insider, where we were interviewed, and we were pretty straightforward, and we talked about it, and we shared our piece in that. Basically, it boils down to he was being very cruel and mean to his siblings that he shared a room with. And so we removed him from the room. And we said, you can sleep anywhere you want. Sleep on the couch, sleep on the pull-out bed, sleep on the floor for all we care, but you're not sleeping in that room with your brother. He chose to sleep on a beanbag. So 9 months later, he had made a lot of changes in his life. And he was ready to, and we had moved by that time. And so we had a new house, and he was ready to move into his own bedroom. Made a video about it. And in the video, he mentioned something to the effect of, I've been sleeping for 9 months on a beanbag. And that is what all the uproar was about.
What did you guys do to help, like, with his behavioral issues? Is that something you and Ruby talked about together? And then did you?
They muted it again.
Helping discover yourself and fix behavioral issues and things like that. Is that something you and Ruby sought out to help correct, like, some of the things?
Yes, and support his choosing honest and responsible choices. And when he chose honest and responsible choices consistently is when he began to get his privileges back. And that was
parenting, right?
Well, that was the uproar, right?
Yeah.
And so, but yes, through 2000.
They keep muting it.
Boundary with that I agree to with my wife, but I understand that he's 18, living on his own somewhere in Provo and working and supporting himself.
What other kids went down to visit Jody?
What other kids?
Yeah, did you send any of the other kids down to spend time with Jody?
Down to spend time with Jody. They would meet on Zoom.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, we were in Springfield. Well, even in 2019, she would meet with them.
So when did Ruby and Jody, to your knowledge, like, decide to collaborate, come together and mesh lives? Because that's what's happened.
Well, they decided to start a business in 2021.
So while you and Ruby were together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but there were, at that period it was pretty nebulous. I don't know.
What's that word mean?
It was just a lot of talk and there weren't like solid plans. It was, let's start by, doing podcasts together and then that's all I know. I know that they published a book together recently. You can find it on Amazon. It's not a secret.
Was business thriving? Like life was good between those two?
Well, not that I was aware.
Well, at some point, and again, I'm not digging into your life, but I'm trying to understand this. At some point,
they
kick you out.
When you talk about a business, thriving in terms of business and money, when we stopped 8 passengers in YouTube, we lost 90% of our income. So to say that business was thriving, in my perspective, no.
Got it.
I don't think it ever was. After that.
Was that part of your guys' reason for separation after you guys ended 8 passengers?
Was that part of the reason? The reasons are because of ways that I treated my wife and some of my own addictions that I was working through and seeking help on with pornography.
Thank you for sharing that.
And I've made some wonderful progress.
Like, is that something you came to the realization that you needed help and weren't doing things right, or is that something that like Jody helped you guys recognize that maybe Ruby needed more?
Frankly, I agree. The space has been exactly what I need to face, my own addictions and receive the support and help that I've needed. And so this space has been very, very good for me.
So when you stated that you and Ruby had this no contact that you guys just verbally agreed upon, was that an idea given by Jody that she recommended you guys have that space and not contact one another?
I'm not aware of that. The invitation for me to leave and take space was from my wife.
Okay.
But that was while Jody and Ruby were friends and collaborating and doing podcasts and
Sure.
Well, you're the custodial parent of these children. I don't see why we can't explain to you why we're involved. So I don't recall the exact time, but sometime before 11 o'clock today.
So, thank you guys for hanging out with me today so far. Really appreciate it. Going through the dark, rabbit hole. This is just surface level, I guess. But we're gonna continue to listen to the interrogation here. Then there's a video of when the cops find the safe, which is pretty crazy. I heard it's nuts. Then there's jailhouse calls and Ruby's journal, which I heard is crazy too. Maybe somebody can send me, or you know what? Actually, BL sent me. Maybe I can just read that when we get to it. Maybe instead of playing the video, I can just read it. As far as Kevin's interviews, it's linked in this one here too. Okay, hold on. Because there's a second interrogation. Kelly emailed me. Oh, this is a nice thing here. Okay, perfect. So the second police interview is in 4 parts. It's on. It's here on Reddit. I found it on Reddit. It has 4 parts. Look at all my tabs. So, what I'm thinking is we go through this whole thing first. And then I'm wondering if maybe we start another live so I can take like a 15-minute break or whatever. Maybe on the second page, we'll do another live and we'll do the second interview. So right now we'll finish going through all this first. We still got quite a bit to go actually. And then I'll take a little break and then see if we can go through. I'll do a second live on the second channel and see if we can go through Kevin's second interview because it's just audio apparently. But everybody keeps telling me, like, you got to hear it. You got to listen to it. And it's right after. See, this one's in August. The second interview is in September of that year. September 12th, 2023. So I'm curious to check that out as well. All right. Sounds good. The journal's nuts.
I received a phone call from 911 on our dispatch that... given that information, your son was taken to the hospital. A warrant has been applied and granted by the Department of Child and Family Services to remove from your wife's care. So no one right now is going to have access to these 2 children based on their physical condition. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Would you condone that behavior?
Would I condone that behavior?
That's my job. My job is to find out your knowledge of the treatment of these
based on
precious children.
No. But again, I don't know the details or I don't know what's going on, but as you described that sounds
horrible. Disgusting.
I mean, and his reaction, I don't know, just to hearing this for the first time, hearing this for the first time about your kid being like this, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of...
No human being should be treated like that.
Okay.
That's my thought.
Yeah, okay. And the cop literally has to tell him this is horrible. And he's like, yeah, horrible.
But again,
weird, man.
We might be different on that.
Maybe he's in shock, I guess.
We're going to sit here for a second, okay? We're going to go out and talk. I'm not saying you're still not free to go. Are you under arrest? Absolutely not. We just have lots of questions that we need to figure out. Lots. Okay?
Okay, because...
Your children are under medical care right now.
And what does that mean?
It means that you don't have access...
Bro, you don't know what that means?
To my understanding is that they are... What is that?
They're in the custody of DCFS.
And they will be for the next 7
There's a medical hold on them right now, so for at least the next 72 hours, based on our understanding.
At least the next 70.
They're in observation, they're being watched.
DCFS is gonna provide you that information and they can better answer your questions along those lines. That's handled through them. Okay, so we'll be back.
So I want you to think about some things though. I don't know. Listen to me. Listen to me.
Cut the shit. Probably muted that shit. Cut it out.
I want you to think about that for a minute. So I have no idea where they're at.
Oh, I don't either. But,
Okay, we're gonna hop out here. We'll be back in a minute, okay? That's still recording audio and video, okay? So if you would, don't make any phone calls.
Sure.
Wild. I'm gonna use the restroom real quick.
what's going to happen with my wife? I love my wife.
I don't know. I'm being honest with you. I don't know. Haven't had an interview with
I
you.
don't press charges against my wife.
Possibly. I think given the circumstances, that's highly appropriate, but again, I don't know your wife. I was hoping to gain some insight from you, but I don't necessarily know that that's something you wanted to,
I trust her.
a road you wanted to travel down with me, so.
And not without legal representation.
Yeah, alright, I get it.
But I love my wife and I trust my wife. And so, I mean, this feels like getting run over by a steam truck, what you're sharing with me today.
Yeah, I can tell you're caught off guard.
I thought I was just coming here to pick up my kids, and for what, I don't know what or why, but... And I was planning on taking them back with me, and just...
I mean, I'd love to have a candid conversation with you, I just don't know how it's going to be received by you. I don't know you, but I can tell you my perception of how this happened.
Well... I'm interested in, look, I'm interested in facts, but again, at the same time, I'm interested in all the facts.
So you understand our facts. Our facts are that you have a child that is emaciated, malnutrition, and has marks. I didn't spend any time with her. Sergeant Tobler did.
Did any of you spend time with her?
He didn't spend time with her.
I have not.
She went to. She was requested to go to the hospital along with Russell, based on their condition.
Folks, I don't know what to do. Like, I want to... It's just, it sounds like a horror movie. And I get you're all doing your jobs. I get it. I understand. And this is my life. I just want my kids. I just want my kids. I just want my
So I missed a little bit. I see he's emotional now.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know why these things that you described happen. I don't know. It's almost like I want to say, I'm sorry, you must have somebody else. Because it's like, am I in the right conference room here? No. That's what it's real, you know, I'm having a hard time accepting this and dealing with this. I mean, you're telling me that you're taking my kids from me.
But you never had them. You didn't even have your kids.
We need to transfer the titles of the car to my name, you know, or we're going to cancel these credit cards and stuff like that. So just stuff related to the finances really is our only communications over the past year.
Sure.
We've had zero communications regarding the kids.
Okay.
I've had no reason to believe or think that there was anything going on. For all intents and purposes, I woke up this morning looking at the picture of my family and making my commitment today, as I do every day, that I'm going to live an honest, a virtuous, and a responsible life today. And what you're sharing with me just feels like a sucker punch.
And just imagine. Brianna, do you have questions?
So,
Okay.
If I still have a family,
yeah,
and they were still married at this point. I guess eventually he did, you know, file for divorce. I don't know if this guy in his head, he thought maybe this lady was going to let him come back. Echo says he was so busy with adult videos when he was married that you didn't see your wife was a complete biatch to the kids. You know, that topic is a really interesting. I won't delve into that too much, but I've always, in my older age, I've actually have felt like that can ruin relationships. A lot of people disagree though, and some people could have like a healthy thing of like watching those videos, whatever, taking care of themselves, and being in a relationship. But I just think that what ends up happening too is some guys and a lot of people, they get caught up and addicted to that. And I'm not talking about, oh, we're watching it together. I'm talking about these guys doing it on their own. They're in a relationship. Then your woman comes home and she wants to do something and you're completely not even into it because you're ready to take care of yourself. You're also, I feel like you desensitize yourself. I really believe in like the no fap thing. I really do. I don't think there's nothing wrong if you once in a while, whatever, but I think people that are like doing that every day, multiple times a day, and you're in a relationship, you're probably not going to be, as a guy, you know, taking care of other stuff. But especially people that are addicted to it, I really do feel like it has some type of effect on the brain, almost like a drug. You know, you push a button and you have a different woman, and you push do another click and it's a different woman. They both label him a pervert. So if, because I don't know the story as much as some people probably do in the chat, if we go the brainwash route, maybe they could convince him he had a problem. Maybe he just watched it once in a while and they told him he had a problem. Who knows? I don't know.
I just...
M71 says, I doubt he ever had a true addiction. Ruby lies. Yeah, maybe they convinced him. Who knows? Especially the Mormon people and that religion, which I sometimes get messages anytime I speak about them. I don't speak like disrespectfully, but there was this thing too I learned not too long ago where like the Mormons, there was news articles about it that like they're so. Somebody said in the chat earlier, like masturbation or whatever. Like what these people would do is like, what do they do? They have all their clothes on and they just rub on each other in the bed. Or I mean, I don't want to get too graphic, but because they weren't allowed to do anything or it's considered like sin, and so they just like rub on each other in the bed. Or what they would do, you know what they would do? I saw there was a news article about it that one person would lay on top of the other one, and then another person would jump on the bed to cause like motion and movement or whatever, because they're so afraid of, I don't know, getting in trouble and that it's a sin or some shit. It was wild to me.
I don't know what my plan. My plan is to go to God.
Sure.
And to figure this out.
Right.
Try humping, yeah. Magic underwear. That is a thing. Yes. The Mormons.
I'm just
wild shit. I don't know why they gotta have somebody else jumping on the bed.
You all are sharing with me, and I feel responsible. Separating, leaving.
It's called soaking. Okay, let me look it up. Yeah. This is freaking nuts. I mean, you can literally look it up, and there's legit articles about this. Mormon teens on TikTok are filming themselves jump humping, a tactic used to avoid thrusting during, relations. And I mean, I don't know. So I could believe that some of these people that's how they're raised and stuff. I'm not taking any sympathy on Jody or this other this nuts. But as far as this guy, I don't know if they convinced him because, they caught him watching a video or something, or I don't know how often he watched it. Business Insider talking about it.
I wish I was a better husband.
Harry Potter. And pay for it weekly?
I know you're all doing your jobs. And I know you all have the best interests of my kids in mind. And I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thanks. That means a lot.
I just want my kids back. I want my family back. I want my wife back. Okay.
I don't want this to sound rude, Kevin. We've got some things to do, but we're not kicking you out. But the building's closed. Okay. You're gonna be okay driving home? I really am worried about you. Okay.
Somebody says you're really crying. I'm so curious about this second thing now. I'm really curious what happened a month later or so in the next interview.
Do your best, breathe. Gotta pull over the side of the road. Do you drink Red Bulls?
Want your water to go, Kevin?
Who said that? Go have a seat, Kevin Franke. You failed your children miserably. This is a Court TV.
I can't think of anything more innocent than a child. And I can't think of anything more sinister than how Ruby Franke and Jody Hildebrandt treated Frankie's youngest children. Never before seen video evidence has now been released, showing the escape and the rescue of the children RF and EF. It brought me to tears. And I know I'm not alone. It was a house of horrors where those children were handcuffed, starved, and tortured. It is nauseating when you see just how emaciated and physically abused they were at the time that RF had the courage to escape the abuse. What a hero he is. He saved both his own life and his younger sister's. Ruby Franke and Jody Hildebrandt better thank the police for arresting them, because these two child abusers were on their way to becoming homicide defendants.
Yeah, sure.
That's how lethal their abuse of those children was. Now they are locked up for at least 4 years and no more than
at least 4 years. And well, it's always crazy to me how like these crimes against children, you get like a nudge on the wrist, like very little time. I'm not sure why it's like that. Except that mother that, I don't know if you guys watched it. I did it on the second channel. Again, subscribe to Ikadmel Space CC. That mother that left her toddler, I forgot how many months the baby was, home alone, and went on vacation for like what, 10 days? Left the baby there to starve and die. And came back and didn't even go home first. She went out with some other guy, second guy. Hung out with the guy for I don't know how long. And then came home and put on this act of crying when she called 911. But before the cops got there, she tried to change the baby's clothes, try to make the baby, look more presentable, the dead baby. And the baby was literally like eating its own like feces and stuff. There's nothing to eat there. And she got a life sentence.
$30 years. It's
look at Nickelodeon. Where's all the cancel culture? Like, there used to be the thing. I'm not for cancel culture, but like when it comes to this child stuff, like, bro, where was all these people that like if these motherfuckers came after you, it's a problem. Now it's nothing. Nothing happens. Nickelodeon with their history of hiring these people. Nothing.
It's up to the parole board. And I sure hope the parole board keeps them in for the max, because 29 years and 364 days won't be enough. And let's talk about Kevin Franke. Where was he? Where was the dad? Where was he when this abuse was going on? I'll tell you where he wasn't. He wasn't there to rescue those kids when they needed him the most. Kevin Franke, I call him Kevin the Chameleon. That's what he's like, because you know what he's good at? Changing his story to whatever suits him and his needs at the time. I stand by my wife. I love my wife. Oh, I want a divorce. She should pay the price. No, how about you go have a seat, Kevin Franke? You failed your children miserably.
Well, I like this lady. This is, what's her name? This is, I think her name is Julie. Oh, yeah, that's right there on the screen. Julie. Yeah, Julie something. I've seen her a couple times. I don't know if she's new or not, but I kind of like it.
I pray to God those children can heal from the torture that they suffered. And I pray that they are properly taken care of with the love and the respect that they deserve throughout the remainder of their childhood. Children are innocent. Ruby Franke and Jody Hildebrandt are not. That's why they found their way to prison, where they belong. That's my opening statement on this Monday morning. I'm fired up, as you can see.
Wow. Okay. All right, Julie. Julie Grant, thank you. Yeah, I mean, listen, I hear stories like men, and like I've heard of like the whole custody. It's like tough, and you're fighting, and you're trying to get, and you sometimes it's like women have more rights, and it's like an uphill battle. But this guy just handed over these kids on a silver platter and said, sure, I'm not going to call my kids or talk to them. And I'm going to, the terms that you give me, I'm going to abide by the terms. I can only call you if it's an emergency, or you can only call me. Other than that, I just have to text you. That is what's so like wild to me. Like, I can't even like imagine doing something like that. But they I guess they say he's brainwashed. I want to hold out a little bit too, because I want to see the second interview. No, we're going to the journal next. Let's keep going. Yeah. So this is the safe in the basement of Jody. This is the safe that they were trying to access. Now, oh, this part doesn't have any audio. Pulls out his gun, I guess. I don't know. Maybe he's not knowing what to expect. In case there's somebody in there waiting to lash out. Bro, I mean, this is like something out of a movie. This is like out of a movie. What the? There's a bed? Okay, a bed coming out of the wall. Empty fridge. Maybe there was unholy stuff happening in this basement. They thought that in this lock, God couldn't see them and judge them or something. Who knows? Check at the top of the fridge. I wonder if that cabinet's locked or something. A microwave. Yeah, they're trying to pull out the fridge. This is like out of a movie, bro. Crazy. You know how many people would love to have a huge home like this? They had a huge, I don't know, or at least Ruby did, a huge YouTube channel, a business. Okay. They pushed it back. Okay. I guess this is the bed that comes out of the wall. Wow. Ruby's diary.
Arrest.
This is a call from and paid for by
Jailhouse calls.
Ruby Franke Purgatory Corrections, an inmate at Purgatory Correctional Facility. This call is subject to recording and monitoring. If you don't wish to talk, hang up now.
After less than 24 hours in jail, Ruby makes a call to her husband, Kevin, who reminds her the call is being recorded.
Okay, well, you know that this phone call is being recorded.
Why? Why are you telling her that? If you're so worried and concerned about your kids, I'm trying to get the most I can get out of this shit. I don't give a fuck about this chick that's locked up after what she did to my kids. Why are you I want to know everything. I want to remind, just let it remind, baby, remember, this being recorded. What?
Sir, the call is being recorded.
Okay, well, you know that this phone call is being recorded.
Yes, that will come out. That will come out.
Almost right away, Ruby asks whether she's making the headlines.
Are we in the news?
It sounds like that at least you're in the news. I don't know about me. I don't know what he's talking about. But
In early conversations with Kevin, Ruby calls her arrest a witch hunt.
I am wondering if they went to Sherry to, ask her questions.
I don't know.
These bookings are public.
I know they are. And a couple of months ago, Business Insider was reaching out to me, and I ignored their email, but I'm going dark,
This is a witch.
I'm not at BYU. I'm not at BYU anymore, so I don't know how they're going to find me.
BYU is something, the Utah thing. BYU, I don't know, it could be anything. Birmingham University, Young University, or it could be any other thing out there. It's a
Yeah, maybe it was a blessing. This is a witch hunt. The devil's been after me for years.
At first, Frankie doesn't show any remorse, saying children can be full of evil.
Adults have a really hard time understanding that children can be full of evil and what that takes to fight it. You've seen what it takes to fight evil. It's not the person you're fighting. And it can look like something it's not. And you've been there, you know that. And so
You've been there, you know that.
I don't know any adults who are going to see the truth. So I'm calm about this, and I just pray that you'll hang in there.
The next day, Ruby speaks with Kevin again and even defends Jody Hildebrandt.
The most upsetting thing is that I am completely misunderstood. That is the most horrible feeling. Like my own family misunderstands me, they misinterpret me, and
Ruby seems to realize the legal implications ahead, but still blames the entire situation on Satan.
He's 35 years in this, and he said, even if you are acquitted and are released, they will place legal restrictions on your access to the under 18 children.
I figured such. God told me. God told me when I was driving before I called you. I didn't have any information. I didn't know anything, and the Spirit said, your children.
The Spirit said.
Are going to be removed. And I cried out loud. I'm like, no.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know if this is mental health. I'm kind of almost tired of like everything just having this general mental health, and so we just, this blanket of mental health. But if you were to look at this almost in a religious aspect, I don't think you're talking to God. Maybe you're talking to a demon. Maybe you're friends and partners with Satan, and Satan's talking to your ass and tricking you and deceiving you and all this kind of shit, and you're following Satan.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready. And God told me I'm done. And I just, So, Satan has taken everything away from me that I love. And I'm a good woman. I don't do naughty things. I'm a really good girl.
But the next time we hear from Ruby in late October, she's changed her tune.
I can't say everything that I want to say, but I really did feel like the arrest was like a rescue. Like I just felt so many angels around, and it was like a relief. It was just really kind of surreal, kind of strange. But I just keep thinking about, President Nelson's talk, think celestial, and I know he's said in the past about myopic thinking, and he's given a lot of context to, how small this life really is, and I'm just so grateful. How many people, will go to the grave not having woken up, and I want to use this time. And I am using this time to change, to repent, and to do what I can to let the Lord know I love him and my family. And I've had many experiences here to kind of guide my thinking.
A month later, Ruby says time away from Jody has cleared her head.
I could not come out of this without his grace, without his mercy, without his help. This has been the strangest and the most miraculous intervention.
it put everybody.
Ruby and Jody both pleaded guilty to all charges against them in December of last year. Ruby is caught on a recording discussing the pleas and future court proceedings.
Did you see that Jody pled guilty today?
I did see that. Yes, is that a relief for you?
Yeah, it's a big relief. It's a big relief. There would have been positive the other way too had she not pled guilty. There's enough evidence that she could have been convicted for life, but that would have been messy. It would have been really messy, and the kids would have. So
do you and her get the same outcome no matter what now, or is there a chance that it would be different?
That's a really good question. That's one that I've asked Lamar. No, we can still have different outcomes.
Ruby theorizes that Jody pleaded guilty because she knew Ruby would testify against her and expected Jody would lie about her mental health history.
She can lie on her paperwork, and she probably will. I don't think she's going to give them her history. But I think in the interview it's going to be apparent that she's mentally ill. And so that will affect how long someone, because they're looking how repentant are you? How much responsibility are you taking? How are you aware that what you've done is wrong? And she's not. She's the only reason she pled is because she didn't want to do life. She knew I would testify.
Then Ruby reveals the last time she spoke to Jody was the day of her arrest.
When was the last time you talked to her? Was it that day?
It was when we were arrested. Yeah, I left early in the morning to go to a dentist appointment with Julie. We left at like 3 in the morning. And she calls me sometime in the morning, and so I went back down. But when I got to the house, I mean, it looked like the movies. There was a red fire truck. There was a black van with tinted windows. There were 2 ambulances. There were 20 cop cars. I mean, it was.
Did you just sit in your car?
No, I pulled up and found a spot to park. She lives on a cul-de-sac. I parked in the cul-de-sac, and I walked up, and the driveway was just full of cops, and I just walked up to the cops, and they said, "Are you the mother?" And I nodded my head, and so they took me and put me in the casita, and I sat there for a couple hours. I just sat there.
Ruby then explains that with time, she got a clearer picture of what really happened. But Ruby Franke's jailhouse calls aren't the only ones we're hearing. As Law and Crime's Elizabeth Milner explains, we also hear from Jody Hildebrandt.
In the newly released jail phone calls, Ruby Franke's former business partner, Jody Hildebrandt, is showing no remorse for the abuse inflicted upon Franke's children.
But it was like everything got taken out of the house and it's in a storage unit so that I could come to jail. It sounds crazy, but it really feels that way. And I don't know if I'm going to be like some kind of example, but when I get out of here, I have a story to tell, and I'm going to try to do everything I can to protect the children, because that's what's happening, is that kids are being just horribly abused. And instead of the kids, anyways, it's a story, but when you come, I'll tell you about it.
So what I'm saying is you're being crucified in public opinion, so your fear has to be super prepared. And the only way he's going to get prepared is if you push him and ride him.
Okay, I will. I'll call him today. He doesn't seem really animated. He seems like, the pictures are going to destroy you. And I'm like,
We didn't do that. We didn't do that. Those pictures we did not do. He did that to himself, yes. Did we put that on him and then he rubbed around and cut himself? Yes. But we didn't do that.
In a later phone call, Hildebrandt can be heard visibly emotional, but still defending her actions.
Nightmare here, Dennis. Nobody wants the truth. Nobody wants the truth. Nobody wants the truth because these kids, I told Doug, I woke up, the Spirit told me, it's all the devil. I mean, you've seen him. I mean, I've known you, for 5 years? You've watched him come at me, come at me, come at me, come at me. And you're exactly right, because he knows I know what he's doing. And he uses these kids. And he uses all of us as the adults, the parents that don't hold the kids accountable. So now it's abusive to make a kid sleep on the floor. It's abusive. Or it's abusive to, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You can't even raise your kids anymore.
In a February recorded call after
Bro. These kids were in a basement. Oh, actually, I don't know if they were in a basement. I'm sure at some point they were, the contraptions that were down there, but one of them was the girl was found in the room, but they were emaciated, abused, tortured, starved, all kinds of stuff. This is not discipline. I mean,
Hildebrandt pleaded guilty. She refers to Bible scripture while leaving a coded message to a man she's speaking with on the phone.
So there's a section he's talking about the second coming. And, I'm coming from this place of I was just getting ready to move and all of a sudden I ended up in prison. What in the world? And, one day you'll know all the details and they'll all make sense, but if I could talk in code here. So he said, this is the Lord talking to the disciples. They asked him, when shall these things be? When are these things going to come to pass? And so he starts talking to him about the last days. And he says that nation shall war against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And then he goes, but before all these that he just talked about, they shall lay their hands on you. Now, I have been praying for 5 months, explain this to me, what is going on? I'm willing to go there, but please let me go right side up. If you want me to be there because you want me to be there, then great. I will not resist it at all, but please help me understand. So I read this morning, and I just wept and just thanked him and thanked him because it just...
Prison.
And he says, and ye shall be betrayed by both parents and brethren and kinsfolk and friends. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what's going on. And some of you shall be caused to be put to death. And you shall be hated by all men for my name's sake. And then he goes on to say, and I never read that before, but I've never been in prison. But I just read that and I just wept. I mean, the Spirit was he just said, this is you. So then I read in Mark. So that was in Luke. And I read in Mark the same kind of thing, because the Gospels, they wrote similarly. So he said, now the brother shall betray the brother to death, and the father the son. The father will betray the son. And the children shall rise up against their parents and shall cause them to be put to death. That statement right there is what's going on with me. The children shall rise up and put their parents to death, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. I probably cried for an hour straight. Just everything clicked. And I said, I'm happy to go to prison. Because if you continue to read the rest of the chapter, he's like, be grateful. If you're in this situation, be grateful because you're one of mine. And you will be saved. And this is, yeah. Well, I have just been begging him, you've got to explain this to me. I cannot logically figure out what's going on here. And that's it. That's what's going on. And the Spirit, when I feel the Spirit, I have two physiological reactions. I get really shaky, I'm shivering, like I'm cold,
or I feel heat, like I have a fever run through me. And I was like burning up. It felt like I was burning up. And I was just shaking with gratitude, like, here's your answer. Here's what this is. But in 1 Peter chapter 4, between verses 12 and 19, I can't remember exactly how he says it, but he's like, when you have something happen to you and it just feels like it's random, it's not random. Like this is intentional. It's not just some crazy act of events that's going on. This is like intentional. And that 1 Peter chapter 4 was another one of the footnotes to refer to, that reinforced all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, this isn't just some crazy random event. This has purpose. And then I connected it to my blessing, because my blessing I've been reading like several times a day, and the blessing is pretty clear. The first paragraph of it says, these are words directly to you from your Heavenly Father, and according to your faith and diligence, they'll either be a comfort to you or they won't be. So however much diligence and faith you want to put in them. And then the next paragraph talks about, it says, you are a special spirit, chosen and reserved for these last days and sent forth to the earth in great clouds of glory to share the gospel and prepare the people for the return of the Savior. And then it says, one of the reasons you were sent here is to share the gospel. The strongest message you will ever teach is the power of your example. And then he says, through the power of your example in the spoken word, he says, your tongue will be loosed, and you will be able to teach the gospel in far and distant nations. And then he says, through the power of your example and the spoken word, you will be a great tool in the hand of the Lord in teaching the gospel to many. So this whole paragraph about an example, I'm like, well, what's a better example than to go to prison unjustly?
I don't know what she sees herself as, like a Jesus or something, like it's a message or whatever. I don't understand. I guess she believes this stuff, and people are, I don't know if it's gullible, desperate, suffering from issues. It could be a combination of things, right? Mental health, everything, and they're looking for some type of guidance. I don't understand it, because at some point I would think that common sense would kick in, or just like the instinct that you care about your child, or just not to see somebody suffer, torture them. I don't know. But everything can be explained away by scripture and verses and a voice told me in my head and whatever. And so it's just, it's so wild to me. I don't get it.
And then go teach the gospel. Go teach the gospel. Like
Ruby Franke, the former
all in the name of Jesus.
YouTuber turned convicted felon, now serving
or Joseph, what's his name? Joseph Scott, or whatever that guy's name is for the Mormons.
Prison time for abusing her children in the name of religion. Franke documented it all in a journal, and we have the disturbing details in her own words. Thanks for joining me for Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Lee.
Anjanette, this lady's really nice. I briefly met her at CrimeCon.
If you thought that the abuse that Ruby Franke's children suffered was bad, I can assure you it's much, much worse than anything that you imagined. Franke documented the abuse and justified it by claiming her children have Satan within them and that demons have visited them. The journal starts in May of 2023 with a note stating that Jody Hildebrandt received a blessing from a temple president. What that blessing was and what it pertains to is somewhat unclear. In late June, Franke wrote that her son refused to do wall sits. He says he is done. The following day, Franke...
That was June. Let me take a look at this. Yeah. Dates range from May 21st to July 15th on page 1. This is an entire timeline done by Ruby. R refuses to do wall sits and says he's done. What's wall sits? What is that? Anybody know? R is to stay outside sleep outside, only comes into the bathroom and shower. E refuses to work, screams, has her hair shaved off. R runs away around 1:15 a.m. Ruby finds him at 3:14 a.m. Jody, E, and J drive to Arizona to find property land.
Frankie wrote that the boy is to stay outside, sleep outside, only to come in to use the bathroom and shower. After that, several pages are black. They're redacted. So there are pages and pages of information.
Completely redacted. Lord only knows what's in them. It says pages 3 to 7 are completely redacted.
That we're not seeing. The journal picks up in July as Ruby Frankie's journal details the horror that her 12-year-old son and 10-year-old daughter endured over the next 3 months. I won't be using their names as they are the victims of horrific abuse. Frankie wrote about her son. Turns 12 tomorrow. I never envisioned him still being 12 and pooping and peeing himself. Satanic choices leads one to be
Satanic choices. It makes me think of almost the stuff that Harmony Montgomery did. You know, living in fear, being treated like shit, being abused. And so a lot of times these kids will, soil themselves.
to become destitute, even in the most affluential homes. Then the next day, on her son's birthday, Frankie wrote about her daughter and son being in so much deviant behavior, they won't control their bodily functions. They're both furious. Their selfish, sinful lifestyle is being intervened upon. I told R he emulates a snake. He slithers and sneaks around looking for opportunities when no one is watching, and then he scurries. If he wants to emulate the Savior, then he needs to be 100% obedient. Ruby Frankie then said that her son lies all the time. He's a compulsive liar. This entire experience is a shock to my system. She wrote that her son has a cold, dead heart, and he's always been able to get what he wants. On July 14th,
It's almost as if Law and Crime is using this this person that did a Reddit with the highlights. It's almost like they're covering the exact highlights. This person did a really good job. I don't know who this is on Reddit. Oh, lost_caller_2470. Really good job. Here's some of the other notes too on page 8. He doesn't know what month it is, therefore he doesn't know it's his birthday. Wow. I told R he emulates like a snake. He slithers and sneaks. Compulsive liar. And you notice that the things that she's accusing this child of and claiming a child, the things that she's saying about is actually what she is. A snake, a liar, Satan, devilish.
Frankie wrote that her daughter, quote, refuses to work, screams, has her hair shaved off. Frankie repeatedly shaved her daughter's hair when she didn't comply with her demands throughout the summer. The girl was only 10. Can you imagine? You shave off your daughter's hair because she refused to work. And we don't know exactly what kind of work she was refusing to do, but we can only imagine given what we have learned about the abuse. This was just the beginning.
And so she said here too, between 7:10 and 7:11, E is better behaved with Jody. I gave her a pixie haircut. All her long hair is gone. No more distracting with hair. R told me he would rather have a glass of water than me as his mother. Don't blame him. Ruby says that E emulates her. She won't scream when Jody is around, but with Ruby, she wails and cries and hits her head on the tile floor. R was told to stand in the sun. With his sun hat, he is defiant. No, I tell him a couple more times. R, or should I say his demon, stays in the shade. I push R into the sun. R comes back. I come back with a cactus poker. When I poke his back to get in the sun, R doesn't even flinch. I poke him on the neck. He's in a trance, doesn't appear to feel anything. On 7:11, page 11, Ruby says, R, do you know that I love you? Do you know that Jody loves you? Do you know that the Savior loves you? He replies with the questions, yes, ma'am. R R wants out of his outcomes. I took my old mop water and go to R. I show R the water. Then I pour the water on R. It's hot outside. It feels good, doesn't it? Yes. Wow. These people should not be let out again. They should just be locked forever. Jody later pushes R into the pool, and Jody pulls him out. Later, they asked him if he wanted to be pushed into the pool again. He agreed. Ruby tries to make some metaphor about talking underwater, and then R can hear her. And how R can hear her. Page 12, 7-11, R gets teary after Ruby talks to him about being underwater. Ruby covers his nose and mouth with her hand to refer back to her previous metaphor about water and oxygen. R voiced like he wanted to beat me up this morning, and then he was intrigued and interested, not sure about the word voiced, handwriting is iffy. Says that 2 hours later he drinks water from the house and that he stole water. Writes R is a compulsive and feels no remorse, and that he wants to go to jail, and he worships the devil and has no interest in changing. Everything this chick is what she's accusing this child of.
The summer of hell for these kids. Frankie said she told her son that he needed to divulge everything, that he needed to pray and to fast. He's workable and calm for a bit, and then angry and defiant the next. The only consistent thing about R is that he lies. That's what Frankie wrote about her son. She followed up by writing that her son told her he would rather have a glass of water than have her as a mom. Ruby Franke then described July 11th of last year as a big day for evil. She sent her son to stand in the sun with a sun hat, but the boy's demons, she said, wanted to stand in the shade. So Frankie said she got a cactus poker to push the boy into the sun. Later, she poured mop water on him to cool him off. The children were forced to fast, but really it sounded more like they were being starved. They were continually told that they were lying and that they needed to repent. For exactly what? No one really knows. If you can engage a weak-minded soul in a physical activity of obedience, you can begin to break the bond of Satan made with the weak. Ruby Franke wrote that Jody Hildebrandt volunteered to help her with that. They planned to buy a ranch in Arizona where the children could do more hard work to rid themselves of Satan. At one point, Frankie wrote, "The kids need a good kick from a horse and a cactus to run into." There were times when Frankie and Hildebrandt placed Frankie's daughter in a closet and refused to give her water if she screamed. Quote, "She screamed for another family, water, food, care, love. A manipulative ploy. You are loved." That's what Ruby Franke wrote about her 10-year-old daughter. The girl was also made to jump into a cactus. Frankie said her daughter was actually cuddling with it, calling it inhuman. In late July, Frankie wrote about her daughter. "We put her in..."
These people should not be let out. I cut more off of E's head. We doused her with water in the dog wash. E said she wanted to run away. Jody told E that she has no idea what is waiting for her.
In the closet to contemplate what to do. She screams much of the day. She doesn't get water if she screams. She refuses to eat. The next day, she wrote, "Jody wakes from a dream. God lets her know that we have done everything we can to get her attention." They also forced the children to pull weeds from a cemetery for hours at a time and to pick up glass. Frankie's 12-year-old son was forced to jump on a mini trampoline for long periods of time and to balance on one foot. On August 27th, toward the end of the children's torturous captivity, Ruby Franke wrote about her son. "Spent the 22nd through the 25th peeing and pooping. He is out of control. He is defiant, abusive, mean, willing to try anything that would grab his attention. I whipped him with a belt yesterday. E2. Frankie then said her daughter peed all over Jody's garage floor, screamed at her and lied to her. She is out of control.
How did you get the ropes on you?
3 days later, on August 30th, the children had reached their breaking point. The 12-year-old boy escaped from Hildebrandt's house and went to a neighbor for help. With me to discuss the horrific.
So there is a lot more to this. They did a really good job though, keeping it covering a brief summary. But there's a lot more to this. I'll read some of the highlights. But honestly, there's so much that there could be a whole stream on this, really. A whole separate stream. Page 5815 says, Ruby writes, when a human is not humble, you have to get to a breaking point of confessing. She explains, R never would have disclosed his sins had he not had a hope that confessing would bring a sense of relief, and describes how his only relief is confession. Ruby then says, the world we live in today does not support children being uncomfortable. They, the adults, are uncomfortable with children being uncomfortable. And so children are comforted, entertained, and distracted from the need to confess and change. Stripping down a child's world to be the basics of beans and rice and hard work would be considered abuse, and it's not. It's necessary for the prideful child. Yeah, I mean, this is just insane.
Horrific information in Ruby Franke's journal is somebody who's an expert in psychology and psychiatry. He is Dr. Daniel Bober. He's a forensic psychiatrist. Dr. Bober, you read through this just as I did. Your first thoughts on what you've read?
Absolutely horrific. Heavily redacted, but the details that are in there are very disturbing.
Why do you think it was so heavily redacted? I mean, we have pages and pages of black. I mean, we have black boxes, of course, but then we have pages full of black. Why would the law enforcement officials in the courts redact that information?
Lord knows what's, yeah, I can't imagine.
Maybe too personal, too disturbing, as if the rest isn't disturbing. It's just, maybe there were things in there that they just felt were too intimate to share. It's very hard to know.
I'm trying to imagine a world, I'm a mom. I'm trying to imagine a world in which I look at my children, ages 12 and 9 or 10, somewhere in that range, and I think to myself, Satan is within you. And in order to drive Satan out of you, my friend Jody here, she's going to volunteer to take you children, you young kids, to her house. And you're going to be starved. You're going to be forced to do physical labor, collecting weeds and glass and what have you from a cemetery for hours at a time, being poked with a cactus, held underwater, forced to stand out in the sun, because that is going to drive Satan out of you. Where is that coming from in Ruby Franke's mind?
Well, ironically, it actually happens to be the parents who are often the perpetrators with these victims of abuse. 1 in 7 children in the last year were abused, about 600,000 last year. And we know that the parents are most likely going to be the perpetrators. But in this particular case, clearly there was something that was not right with this woman, whether she had her own abuse or her own mental illness. I've never obviously examined her, so I can.
Yeah. So that's the gist of that. A whole lot of mumble jumble. As far as, well, not mumble jumble, but just so many details. We could be here for hours and hours and hours and hours. Oh, that's a wall sit. Okay. So I scheduled the next stream for 5 p.m. Eastern on the second page. Okay. Iked Mel CC. Chef Lady, thank you for the 25 months. Says craziness. I think she labeled him. Who knows if he watched that stuff? Alyssa, thank you for the membership. Says RF is a hero and saved their lives. I hope the kids are able to stay together. BL told me that they're in foster care right now, or they're with DC, whatever they call it, Child Protective Services. But that the father is trying to get custody back. Kevin, he wants to get custody back of the kids. Vicky, thank you for the super chat. Jam Cracker, thank you for the 20, says, hi, Mel. As someone who likes to mix up metaphors, let me put it to you this way. Dysfunction Junction ain't just a river in denial. 828 Caroline, thank you so much, too, for the 10 memberships. And Mustard Mama, thank you for the 20. Thank you so much. Tiny Ghost, thank you for the 10-month membership. Says, Mel, you're the best. Roro, Jennifer, Kelly, and Jen, thank you for the memberships. All right, so I'm going to take a little break. If you could hit the like button, please, too. We get at least 1,000 likes on the stream. But I'll come back in an hour, and it's going to be on the second page. Let's just watch the second interview for Kevin Franke. I already scheduled it. I'm going to do a little transfer. I'll transfer us there. And then later today, I also want to check out the interview for Kevin Sebastian, Nancy Grace. I said Kevin Sebastian. Sebastian Rogers. The interview for Nancy Grace, where she spoke with the biological mother and stepfather, doing too many things at once. And we'll also talk about the updates in the search for Sebastian. So I want to show this to you right here, second channel. Boom. Some people say he's brainwashed. He didn't know what happened. He's one of Ruby's and Jody's victims, I guess. Oh, and the other thing too, tomorrow, I'm going to schedule this some point tonight. We'll come back tomorrow too and watch this other video that people have been asking, where police find two Ruby Franke's daughters during her arrest. It's like a 2-hour video. And I don't know, people have told me I need to check it out, so we'll do that too. So, and the first comment is, it's amazing how all the parties involved have their attorneys on speed dial. Damn. All right, so I'm going to transfer you guys over to the new stream. I'll see you guys in an hour. Peace. Oop. You guys tell me. I'm going to make a decision after this one, after we watch the second interview.